Hey everybody, Matt Siltala here with Avalanche Media. I also have Dave Rohr with Northside Metrics on the other end of this for another exciting podcast. And what we're talking about here today is when should a small business hire interns? And so this is something that both Dave and I have recently seen a lot of people talking about. One of the things just mentioned right before we started recording was a common friend of ours, Will Reynolds, just posted about this. And so we have a lot of really interesting stuff to talk about, as far as interns with the SMB, hiring, what to do with them, and things like that. And so I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to you, Dave, let you start us off for this session. And hello, first of all.
Hello. How are you, sir?
I'm doing great today.
I'm not a lawyer, and I don't pretend to be one. The one thing about interns I would always stress, and when I worked in-house and whenever I work as an agency person talking to people, I always tell them to talk to your HR, or if you don't have an HR, your lawyer, or whoever your main go-to person is around HR and hiring type things. When it comes to interns, one of the things you need to be alert of is there a minimum hours? Is there minimum pay? Is there free? Some states have different laws. Some there's federal laws, and depending on the age, what they can and cannot do. There's also within the states with, do you have to pay them? Is there a minimum? Is it the minimum wage? Can they work for free if it's part of a school thing? If you're talking to high schools versus college, we're not going to get into that, but that's just something that is a downside to interns. But if you can get past that and do it once, you'll lay down all of that kind of stuff is done once. And then every semester, if you start working with, and we'll kind of talk about it, an English teacher or graphic design or your local high school or whatever that local college or whoever it is near you, you can kind of build that up. And over time, it might be a bit of an investment at the start, but isn't every employee in a way, whether it's training or anything. And if you can create almost like a pipeline of people working with you for, 3 months or 6 months or a year, you can help them, but they can also help you. And I'll start with that.
Yeah, that's great. And it's completely different than where I thought you were going to first go with that. I thought you were going to first say something like, don't give them the keys to the kingdom right from the beginning.
Well, there is also that, but I just wanted to get that legal thing out because we're not going to talk about it, but it is something that everywhere I've worked at, it's something we had to keep in mind.
Yeah,
we have seats, we have work, but what are the biggest hurdles I've always seen are the legal or certain hiring things from the HR side.
Yeah, definitely do whatever you can to make yourself legal with this. And again, I'm glad that you mentioned we're definitely not giving any kind of legal advice, and we're not lawyers. We're opposite of lawyers. We probably give people the wrong advice all the time. No, just kidding. So one of the things that when we were talking about this, with when should a small business hire interns, one of the things that got me, really interested in this topic was something that we've started, and at Avalanche, we just recently hired our first full-time intern. And it's something that is working out really well, and something that I see as the benefit from this guy's, besides being sharing the same name as me, which is awesome. One of the benefits that I see him getting from this is he's spending a certain amount of time with the SEO team. He's spending a certain amount of time with the PPC team. He's spending a certain amount of time with the PR outreach team and whatnot. And so this, he's getting a really good mix of what digital marketing is. And so if we can create an environment where he loves it and he wants to be around us, and then he's checking out all these different areas of interest, he's going to eventually lean towards one area that he's more comfortable with, if you will, or that he loves. And, that could be the direction and where he goes with while he's finishing schooling. And so that's going to be the perfect kind of employee. That's going to be the person that we want working for us. You know what I mean?
Yep. And I didn't have an intern, but I had what he basically was kind of like an intern. When I first started out, it was just me, and I was trying to juggle proposals and sales and closing deals and opening, getting stuff done and all this stuff. And I had a couple clients that were challenging as far as they were asking lots of basic questions. And I'm like, well, I don't have like a sales deck. I don't have a training deck. I don't have a deck for this stuff. So what I ended up doing is I used Craigslist, and I browsed through a bunch of stuff, and I found actually a local guy that had just graduated like a year or two out, was still trying to figure out what he wanted to do, and I hired him on a project basis, and it was more like a consultant. It wasn't exactly an intern, but the stuff he did was he was basically getting paid to learn SEO or paid to learn PPC, and he knew some of the basics.
Yeah.
But I would challenge him, and I'd say, okay, I don't have a 101 deck for PPC. Here's a deck I've done in the past for training. Here's a couple blog posts that you should look at. Beyond that, here's what I want to talk about. You try to fill in the blanks. Work until you think you're about halfway, or do a couple slides, and then we'll sit down. And for him, I think it was kind of an internship, but it was certainly a paid internship, but it was also project-based. So
yeah.
He also had a full-time job, and he was like, it's not what I want to do. I kind of want to get into SEO or digital marketing, something. And that's that whole, my daughter just graduated. She has that problem now, too. It's like she has some experience, but most jobs she looks at want 1 to 2 years experience. So it's like, how do you get that experience?
Yeah. Well, and this is that great opportunity. And one of the things that we were chatting about before all this was, how many times do you have people that, obviously we're always telling people about different things that they should do. Not everybody has the budget for creating content every single month. And I'm talking like, good, well written out content, or content even that goes on a website, for example. Well, one of the things that we've done is there's lots of kids going to college that are really good, really smart, brilliant individuals that just need that opportunity like you were talking about. And so, we're always suggesting to these guys, why not go to a, local university or college, or even a business or technical school even, find someone that's in one of these areas that you're needing help on, whether it be design, if it is with content writing, find, a journalism, PR major type person, go and see what kind of programs that school is offering. What do they need to graduate? Do they need to have some kind of non-paid 10-hour-a-week internship for 3 months or 6 months or semester or whatever it ends up being? And then take advantage of these guys. The 10 hours that you have them, tell them, here's the website, and I need my content redone, or I need this proofed, or I need, whatever it could be. Some of the best content and ideas and opportunities from people that we've worked with have come from interns in this exact type of situation. So it's something to think about anyway, especially if you have zero budget to pay someone to do this kind of stuff.
And when I was in school, we won't say how long ago, I actually found an internship, and I was actually able to get credit for it. I forget if that was a paid one. I think it was paid, but it was like minimum wage type paid or something. No, it was unpaid. It was an unpaid one. I had another job where I tried to get an internship, and they didn't have an opening, and they just actually hired me at, a really small number of hours. But I actually had it, and it was as a web developer. And I reported to the main developer who oversaw the site, and he was like, he would just give me little projects. He's like, here, this code over on that page needs to be fixed, or I have this annoying project I don't want to do,
Yeah.
redo that for me. And we'll, and it was all really small stuff. But like what Matt was saying, if you are a baker and you need some content, go and find someone that's either a photographer or a writer or a graphic person and say, hey, you have this talent. Are you also interested in baking? Or we're a restaurant. Are you interested at all in, food prep and stuff like that? Oh, you are? Okay. well, why don't you come in, and part of your internship will be for you to document with your skill, whether it's photography, writing, or graphic, or whatever it is, to document this. Or maybe you find someone that's a cook or that's interested in, wants to be a chef and they're just starting to go to school. Have them come in and document some of the stuff you're doing. So they're learning. They might get a little bit of work done in the kitchen, but basically they're creating content for you.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, I just think that this is just it's a huge opportunity. And also, one of those things that I was thinking that could be, more of the benefit of something like this is you're creating someone that is loyal to your brand, but you're also maybe preventing headaches from later on. Again, you never know if this person, and again, may not be the headache for you, but they may not have figured out what direction they wanted to go until they had that internship with you, and you might have saved them from making the wrong choice or going to another business where their heart wasn't really at. And so it's good because you have a daughter that's going to college, and I have one that's about a year away, and she's still trying to figure out what it is that she wants to do, and I think these kind of opportunities are great for people like that. So.
In the opportunities I had when I was a developer, I was like, yeah, this is, I think, what I want to do. And of course, I did it for 5 or 6 years after that and transitioned to SEO, but that built my background as a web developer and really got me away from, I was a little scared because I actually went to school to be an architect, engineer, and I kind of fell out of that and fell away from it. And I found the internet at the time, and I was like, I could build websites, and a couple opportunities really helped me realize that I could do that.
That's funny because it kind of reminded me of something similar with me, and a lot of people know this, but those that are listening to this or new to this podcast may not. But I actually was a co-host on a morning country radio station, and one of the things that I did, because I was going to college at the time that I was doing all this, and I was going to college for computers. And so this is, you could kind of count this as an internship. I didn't think about it at the time, but after we're having this conversation, I realized that it's exactly what it is. But, so I'm working at this radio station. I'm on air. I do a lot of production, commercials, things like that. But because I was going to computers, and this was, in the late 90s, and the internet was just created by Al Gore. And so, what was going on was, they wanted to be online, and so I'm into computers, so of course I know everything about creating websites and the internet, right? But I took it on as a challenge. They said, hey, do you want to develop our first 3 websites? And so I said, yeah, let's do it. And again, I knew nothing about it. This was going to really date me, but I was using like Cold Fusion, I think, Dreamweaver. But so anyway, like I created these websites, and I really fell in love with internet marketing at that point, link building and just the back end side of it. A couple of things that was really good about it, though. I realized I didn't want to be in radio forever, which is funny. I mean, that's what my job was, but kind of this opportunity that I had helped me realize that, my heart really was with the internet side of it and the website part of it, but also it helped me understand that I didn't really want to design websites either. I really liked the marketing side of it, and I liked the different things that I did, the tweaking of the website, and driving lots of traffic to it, or, I made this simple change to this title tag, or, I hid some text on this page and I got lots of traffic, and again, not saying that you should do that kind of stuff, but back in the day, it was the wild, wild west, and, you were learning, and, anyway, so those are the kind of things I think people should take advantage of, and hopefully maybe we have some people listening that are thinking about interning, or hopefully this has given them some ideas of if they're curious about what direction they're wanting to go.
And if you are looking for an intern, or if you're looking to hire, or if you're we have done this in the past where I worked before, we would hire not an intern, but we would hire entry level, and we'd almost like lower you would lower the rate obviously for that position, but you would make it more of a completely very, very entry level position. which would also mean you would hire up. But there was a time when I had development job that would report to me because we didn't want me spending all my time doing it. But as a web developer, the last thing a web developer ever wants to do is maintain someone else's code. They always want to build the new shiny thing.
Yeah.
And we had a 1,500-page static website.
Oh, wow.
Because we couldn't have a database thanks to security and stuff like that. So I had built it in a very scalable way where everything was using includes, but anytime someone wanted a new press release out, we had to build a page. Anytime someone wanted to tweak something, you had to go and tweak it on every single page.
Wow.
Very not fun for an experienced developer. So we
very
would look
cumbersome.
at straight out of college, intern type position, someone that wanted to get their foot in the door, or that's all they could really get. Very happy, and every so often it's like, here, we have a new site. We're going to build a microsite. It's on WordPress. Do you know anything about WordPress? No. Here, go learn it.
Yeah. Well, no, go ahead.
I'm sorry. I was going to say I would try to give them one cool, fun, interesting project every so often to kind of keep giving them that, the carrot, keep the carrot going so that they do all that 35 hours a week of not fun stuff, but we needed to get it done.
Gotcha. Well, and as we've been talking about this, I do remember when I was in college, one of the things I had to do was, because I was getting the degree for computers, I did have to go work for this software company, and they did fixed assets. They were a fixed assets company, and it was interesting because I learned a lot about that side of the software side of it. The programs used for when you run it on your computer and how it has to be set up. And again, there was a lot of stuff. So I was going to school for computers, but I went there to this, and I gave them a lot of other ideas and a lot of different ways that they could be found online. So maybe I was hired to go in and look at it from another point of view, like the software side of it, but the ideas and the things that I ended up giving them and what they found useful was something completely different. And so, again, when you go back to when should a small business hire an intern, you never know what they're going to bring to the table. You never know what opportunities, you just never know. And so, obviously, not every experience is going to be good, but sometimes you're going to get those golden nuggets that are going to make it all worth it, I think.
And the other thing, we've been talking a lot about coding and stuff. The initial question is, when should you hire a small business intern? When do you have too much to do?
Yeah, that's
like
right there.
You have too much to do, what do you actually have to do in your day to day? If you're the face of your storefront, if you are the person that like for the technical audits and the delivery, I have to do that. I can't have someone else do it. What can you reasonably, I don't want to say outsource, but offload? What can you, bucket up into little chunks and give to someone?
Well, that makes me think of what you said right there, the bucket up in chunks to some, what can you do? That totally made me think of this. So, like, how many people, Dave, do you talk to that are like, I just don't have time to do the social media, or I don't have time to do this or that of it because I'm running the company. And now, again, I'm not saying that you just turn over the keys to the kingdom to anybody,
yeah.
But you can work really closely with a intern of helping you do all the legwork. Like, let's say you don't trust them to have access to your social media accounts and start posting. Well, guess what? There's programs out there that allow them to go in and upload content, upload images, what they're going to say without being published, and you can go in and look at it all and improve it all, and we can even give links to a lot of those services here. But one of the things that I was thinking of is when should a small business hire an intern? To your point, when you have those responses, when someone asks you, how come you're not doing the social media, or how come you're not doing this or that with your business, that might be a good reason to have an intern.
Yep, and the way I do social media, and even just anytime I start optimizing on-site content, I don't want to post it directly, or maybe I can't. I will put it in a Google Doc, and I literally just did this for a client the other day. I rewrote all of their meta descriptions, all of their page titles, all of their H1s. It's in a Google Doc. It has been shared with them, and I am awaiting their approval of it. I'm not an intern, and I still do that.
Yeah.
They can either post it or I'll post it.
And it's a good reminder too that again, you know, this this could be a whole nother podcast, but you know, the social media fails. You know, you want to avoid some of those big blunders, and I think some of the biggest blunders that I've ever seen have come from when interns have done something stupid or wrong. So,
or someone got a little overzealous with their response.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, but for me, like the example I used earlier, when that stuff I offloaded was stuff that I needed, but not right that moment. But I thought about it, and I'm like, well, I just had a client, and we talked about PPC, and of the 2 hours where we walked through the reports, I spent an hour and 45 of it explaining what CPC was, what QT, you know, what CTR is, what all this basic CPA stuff, like all those acronyms.
Yeah.
Like, what? And, you know, and I had explained the difference between broad phrase and exact match, and why you shouldn't have a landing page be a PDF on a third-party site. I was like, oh, wait, we have to go through this? I'm like, I hadn't thought that I was going to run into someone that was spending what they were spending on PPC and have such basic questions.
Yeah.
And so for me, that need became relevant and immediate, where I was like, oh, wow, okay, I might need a deck, and I might need to start talking to people and asking them, what is your comfort level with these types of things? Do we need to do kind of a training? Do we need to do something? And that's where it came in that I had my junior SEO intern type person start building stuff. Because for me, it was like, okay, well, I could build this, or I could pay him a small amount, and even if I have to clean it up some, if he can get me 80% of the way, and I give him some direction, and I only have to have a quick call with him every week, you know, we talked about the tools recently. If it costs me $100, or if it costs me $1,000, but it saves me 10 hours or 20 hours or 30 hours, and I can build that, or I can do other stuff that grows my business, whether it's a tool or whether it's an intern, whether it's, you know, hiring another body for your company, I think they're all kind of the same in that if the ROI either is freeing you up, giving you time, saving you money, I don't see why you don't at least look at it.
Yeah, and the good news is if it ended up being a mistake, it's not a costly mistake. So,
yeah,
not something that's, I mean, it's a lot easier to fix that situation than, you know, we all know how hiring is and that whole process and going through that, and, you know, anyway, so very cool. What do you think are the key takeaways for people when, you know, when they should hire an intern?
If you can think of a task, whether it's, and it could be anything even beyond marketing. It could be your social media. It could be something graphical. It could be writing content for your site. It could be, you know, can I hire a junior sous chef to help me in the background doing prep work so that I can spend time doing stuff. Look at your local colleges. Look for people that have interests that cross with your need and maybe your business. So if you're a dentist, maybe find someone that's at a local school that's like going to school to be, oh my gosh, I forget the name of what they are, dental assistant.
Oh yeah.
Maybe there's someone that is in a local school. Talk to that local school and find out if there's anyone there that is in that school but also has a passion or interest in graphic design, writing, you know, any sort of marketing thing. And then see if you can't get them. They'd be working at a dentist shop, you know, at a dentist, but doing marketing. They understand how the business works. That might be really interesting to them as an intern that none of their, you know, other fellow students are going to get to do.
I like that. Now, wrapping it up, maybe what we could do, we could promise these guys a couple links, maybe links to Sear, links to a couple other places that we know of that, you know, may be good for learning about different internship opportunities or how some people go about that. And it may be beneficial for those that look at that. So those would be my takeaways. Dave, I appreciate all the great information. Hopefully, all of those that were listening to this on, when you should hire an intern, hopefully you got some good key takeaways from it. As always, make sure you follow us on social, and if there's any questions that you have or anything that you want to, ask us about, feel free to reach out to us. Dave and I are both very available online. Twitter is one of the best places to get a hold of us. And so if you do have any questions related to this podcast, either us or just tweet right at Biz of Digital, BIZOF Digital, and we look forward to hearing from you. So I'm Matt Siltala with Avalanche Media for Dave Rohr with Northside Metrics, and we will see you at the next episode. Thanks, guys.
Thanks, all.